Neves, let's get to recording.
Recording? Oh, fuck. Dude.
What's wrong with you?
You know what? I'm just going to say it. It's been too long, and I'm putting my foot down. Nathan, I'm so sorry. I'm quitting the podcast. I can't do this anymore. I'm sorry. I'm
Quitting?
I'm going to do stop
We just
motion.
hit 5,000 subs.
I understand.
So, wait, did you say stop motion?
I'm doing stop motion.
You did stop motion when you were 12 on YouTube.
I know. I'm going back to my roots, dude. It's the way to go.
Going back to your roots.
I'm going to make Lego superhero movies. I'm already working on a script right now. I'm taking a lot of pictures.
Wait a minute. Why don't you think about it a little longer and we do an episode on stop motion movies?
Stop motion movies. You know what? I'm going to scrap my stop motion dreams and do this episode.
That was quick. Let's record. Welcome to the Real Talk Podcast, episode 154. I'm your host, Nathan, and I'm joined by the man himself, Matthew Neves, to my left.
Thank you.
And today we are going to be discussing stop motion movies.
I was wondering what you were
See
doing.
what I was doing there?
I thought you were tweaking for a second. I was
a
like,
little bit of that, because I just had a Red Bull and an espresso.
Ooh.
But we're discussing stop motion movies, a medium that is a little lost in time.
A little
Every
bit.
once in a while you get one, but should be more popular than it is.
I think so.
I think so too.
I've had a long history with stop motion. I don't know if you know this, Nathan. I had this YouTube channel called Fireball Movies.
Are all the videos still up?
Yeah. No, they're all still up. They're still public. I made them. I started when I was 10 years old.
Link in the description, guys.
Yeah, link in the
Check it
description.
out.
Fireball Movies Lego. Started when I was 10. I stopped around 17 or 18, so I did it for about 7, 8 years. I basically made stop motion Lego videos, and some of them people watched, some of them didn't, but I had the passion for it because of the movies I watched that were also stop motion, like...
Bro, can you tell that story that when we went to the Monkey Man thing, and you saw that guy that makes stop motion Legos? Because that was a crazy full circle moment.
I got to tell this. His name was, I don't know his actual name because I only know him from YouTube. I believe his name is Akash Lego Productions. And I remember a little history behind him was I watched his videos and he saw one of my videos that I made long ago. I think I was like 12 or 13. And he was like, hey man, this video is not that good. Like, you know, maybe you should work on this, work on that.
So
and
he gave you some real constructive criticism. He didn't
Yeah.
just come in your video and like a troll and was like, this is ass.
No. He wasn't like that, which I was surprised by from a lot of the comments that I was getting. Obviously, like when you're on YouTube, you're kind of expecting that.
Yeah, for sure. It's
Especially when you get like a lot of views on a particular video. People are like, why is this so popular? I'm like, bitch, I don't know.
Yeah.
Fucking,
People
I don't
like to watch this
I
shit,
can't
yeah.
predict the weather. I can't predict this shit.
That's right.
So yeah, he got that comment. And then I made another video a year or two. And he's like, oh, good job on this. So I was like,
He was watching the
He
progression.
was watching the progression, and I see him now. I just checked his YouTube channel. He has over 100,000 subscribers, almost 200,000 subscribers.
Holy.
And he was Canadian. I remember seeing that on his YouTube, but I didn't think much of it. I was like, oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Thumbs up. And that was like 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Shit I didn't even think about.
And then, yeah, full circle, we get invited to the Universal reached out to us, and we got invited to the Monkey Man premiere.
Yeah.
Which was a real landmark for the podcast. You know, our
Yeah.
first time getting invited to a premiere. It was so much fun, and he was there.
He was there. Well, I found out because you know how a lot of the premieres, they had our names on
the seat,
on
yeah.
the seats. His name wasn't on there because I don't know his name. His YouTube channel name was on there. It was like 5 seats that said Akash Lego Productions. So I was like, why does that sound familiar? And I was like looking at you. I was
You
like,
went back to your childhood. You're like, this is the guy.
that's the fucking guy.
That's
yeah.
such a cool story.
If you want to see some cool Lego videos, by the way, check him out. He still makes some amazing ones.
He's still on the grind, eh? Still making new
he's
ones?
Still on the grind. I just saw Doctor Strange. What's the most recent video he did? Oh, he made it like 2 years ago. No, they're still good though. Still fucking great. Would recommend. I don't know what he's doing now, but if you're watching this, if you're not, I hope you're doing good, man.
That's awesome.
But yeah, crazy story. But yeah, I've been making like Lego videos since then. I stopped back in 2017, 2018. And I wasn't really thinking much of stop motion as a topic until I've read about Coraline that turned 15 years old.
It's crazy. I remember when that movie came out.
Same. I think I was like 9 or 10 when I saw it. Scared the shit out of me, which is why I loved it so much.
Like, we were all universally scared by that movie. Right?
Yeah.
Like, traumatized. Like, it wasn't even that scary, but it's like stop motion to a kid is sometimes scary.
Yeah.
It just it being stop motion.
I mean, it's also the same guy who directed Nightmare Before Christmas, so you're gonna have that weird, like lanky.
They
art
know
style.
how to get that uncomfortable art style, right? So it's
Yeah.
like not something necessarily that's scary or like jump scares or pop-ups, but unsettling.
The
art
subject
style.
matter itself is also pretty dark.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, I read about that. I was like, oh, I remember watching Coraline. I fucking love that movie. Then I thought, what other stop motion movies are there? Because you are correct, where it's like it's not as common as people think it is. A little history. Back in the day, before CGI, before all that stuff, a lot of people used stop motion to create their monsters, to create their special effects.
Yeah, like I think in Star Wars, the Tauntaun, they use stop motion.
It was Phil Tippett who did that. He did visual effects work for all the original Star Wars films, Jurassic Park. A lot of, I think he also did RoboCop too, the Ed 209. So he did a lot of those stop motion back in the day, and then once CGI came in, it was essentially replaced because they thought, well, you know, the Terminator stop motion, the first one looks okay, but the T2 one, like that looks fucking amazing.
Yeah, it's different. It's different for sure. But stop motion, when done really well and in short bursts, like you know, Terminator 2, if they had to do stop motion, like,
Yeah.
for the whole movie, like if you have to do it for a whole movie in like an actual like real life, you know, film, live action film, it's
Yeah.
tough.
It is.
But when you're showing a monster in like Star Wars, like those effects hold up a ton. They're
They
like
sure-
really
they-
good,
yeah.
really strong effects.
They really do, and that's what I really liked about them. Another few people that are most notable for their stop motion work is Willis O'Brien. He was a golden age visual effects artist, visual effects creator, most notably King Kong.
Oh wow.
Yeah, back then King Kong. He also did Mighty Joe Young, which, in my opinion, Mighty Joe Young, that movie from 1949 or 48, I believe, that stop motion is amazing. Like, it's so smooth, and they're not using that technology of adding extra frames. That's all from the 40s. And it's so cool how they do it because it gives them expression.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So they were doing clean stop motion in the 40s, eh?
Because he perfected it from King Kong.
King Kong.
Yeah, so he just kept on doing it. Another notable one is Ray Harryhausen. That's a name that a lot of people might have known. His most notable work was Jason and the Argonauts, that
Yeah.
infamous shot with him fighting the skeletons. Dude, like...
Holds up so well.
It's so
and
good.
seeing that in theaters, I couldn't imagine what that was like.
He also did, I believe, Clash of the Titans, the 80s one, with Medusa and the Kraken, like all that stop motion stuff. That's the thing about like fantasy movies back in the day. It's like pre-CGI, you could just go all out, go creative. You had miniatures, you had stop motion characters, all this shit. And it's like, yeah, you could get away with it because like it's all fantasy. It's
Yeah.
all gonna look slightly weird. So fuck it. Let's have a creative time and do something cool with it.
Yeah, there was a lot of different ways to solve those problems versus
Yeah.
now it's just like it's all CGI and that's it.
Well, even Jurassic Park, I think Phil Tippett was just like, we tried making the dinosaur stop motion. And Spielberg was like, something, I
Little
feel like we
off,
could
eh?
do something more. And then they did this 3D animation. He's like, nope, we're doing that. 3D animation, and then close-ups will do big scale type of thing. And that's what they did instead. But it's cool to see the dinosaur stop motion tests that they did because it's like still good.
Yeah, it's still good.
It's
but
different. It's
Just
just a different style.
right.
So those are some notable works of stop motion being used throughout film. Nowadays, we see more just stop motion movies from a studio known as Leica Studios. Have you heard of them?
No.
Before? Leica Studios, hold on. They're a new studio founded around 2010 or 11, I believe. The founder is Travis Knight. Now, that name might not sound familiar to anybody, but he is the son of, I forgot his name. But his father is the co-founder of Nike.
Phil Knight.
Yeah. Phil, yes, thank
Phil
you.
Knight. I just read his book recently.
Yeah. So this is his son. He is one of the founder. He's the founder of Leica Studios, a stop motion film company. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I'm thinking like, cause
Damn, I just read Phil Knight's book. Phil Knight has a fantastic book called Shoe Dog, where he talks about, you know, how he came up with the idea of Nike and his early entrepreneurial endeavors. It is one. This is a sidetrack, but
Yeah.
it is one of the best books that I've ever read in my life.
fuck yeah, man.
It is so incredibly good. I would recommend it to anybody, whether you have interest in being an entrepreneur or not. It is a very entertaining life story, and there's a lot of like life lessons to be learned in that book. Really good book.
Wow. What are the odds of that? Sorry, I just a little tangent, but I fully want to check that book out now. Holy fuck. But yeah, with Travis Knight, he started Leica Studios, and some of his most notable work was Paranorman, Kubo and the Two Strings, and a few others. But his main outlet for the studio is stop motion movies. Even when the movies don't do as well, he still wants to keep making more, and he still has some money to make more. So I'm curious what he does next with various other movies that he's working on. But yeah, that's the main studio now. Before it was Aardman. Aardman's most known for Chicken Run, Wallace and Gromit, you know those ones, the classic ones. They also did Flushed Away, which wasn't stop motion.
They did Flushed Away too, right? Because you know what? Flushed Away wasn't stop motion, but has the
Yep.
Wallace and Gromit aesthetic.
Do you want to know the history behind that? It was originally supposed to be stop motion, but DreamWorks was, at the time, DreamWorks was working with Aardman. They did Chicken Run together, and they were like, all right, let's do Flushed Away. It's like, let's do it all 3D instead. So they changed it all. So it was
Flushed
all
Away.
3D, and then I think there was a falling out. That's why they never worked with DreamWorks again.
Flushed Away is really a movie forgotten by time, isn't it?
Yeah. It's good, though. I really
Is
like
it
that
good?
movie. I like
I
it.
don't remember if it's good.
Dude,
I remember for sure liking it, but I don't remember if it's good.
I think out of the DreamWorks era, like that's definitely more positive than negative. It's like Megamind. I'm glad people are finally discovering Megamind for its true genius. I feel like Flushed Away is going to be like that in the next few years.
Interesting.
It's just nobody talks about it now, but trust me.
We could play the PS2 game.
Oh, they have a PS2 game? Fuck.
Yeah.
Shit, man. But yeah, speaking of Aardman 2, they did some newer films too. I think the newest film that they worked on was Early Man. It was that caveman movie. It looked okay. It's just that like there's not that much variety outside of that, especially because their studios aren't willing to spend $40 million, $50 million on stop motion movies.
That's something I didn't know about, and I did some research on, like the budgets for these kind of movies, because
Yeah.
it's hard to say what these movies cost. So like the budget for Coraline was $60 million in
Yeah.
2009. That's a pretty big budget.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
It's a pretty big budget for a stop motion movie. I mean, that one paid off. It made 124 million.
Yeah.
But yeah. So what I'm seeing here is like on the cheap end, you can. I mean, Nightmare Before Christmas was 18 million, but that was 1993.
Still pretty cheap.
Still pretty. That's like on the cheaper end for sure. But it looks like, you know, in the 2000s, you're not going to make one for less than $30 million.
Yeah. Another thing too is they don't make crazy money. Like I think the highest grossing stop motion film is Chicken Run, I believe, with 200 and something million. And it's just like compare that to like 3D animation nowadays. Good lord. I mean, look at Inside Out 2 box office. It's going to reach almost 2 billion.
Yeah.
And it's like
Is it just the medium that turns people off, like the
maybe
style of it, or
I don't know. I never understood that type of comment. Maybe it's because I was biased for loving a lot of the stop motion films that I saw as a kid. Because to me, it was no different than 3D animation. I mean, it's like the goofy character designs are the same in terms of like, they're both goofy. Like you watch Shark Tale.
yeah.
It's still goofy ass designs compared to Flushed Away or the Chicken Run or Wallace and Gromit. It's just different execution.
I agree, and maybe our generation was kind of primed for stop motion a little bit as well. Like you have this, you know, some OGs
yeah.
that we watched. We watched a lot of shows and stuff as kids that were stop motion, so I think we were kind of used to it. Versus like if a kid sees it now, it might be a little jarring to them. or
Maybe,
a
yeah.
little bit weird to them.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, Pingu,
Yeah, man.
a classic.
Pingu's so good, man.
Completely agree.
I almost
The
forget.
visual storytelling of Pingu, on point.
Pingu's great. For some older viewers, Gumby.
That's right.
Come on.
That's right, Gumby.
I'm Gumby, damn it.
Bob the Builder.
Yeah, another one too. And of course, every Christmas you would watch.
Yeah, the Rankin Bass Christmas specials.
Yeah, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the Santa Claus one, Jack Frost.
Watched all of those in school a ton. Rolling that big VHS TV.
Yeah, and when I was a little older, at 9 o'clock, Teletoon would be Teletoon at night.
Oh yeah.
And they would always play this one show called Robot Chicken. And I was like, oh, it's like the stop motion I saw as a kid. And I was like, nope. It's a lot more raunchy.
Yeah.
I tried watching Robot Chicken recently. It's I like the stop motion.
Yeah, the stop motion is good. I have gone back to Robot Chicken a bit and watched a very good amount of it when I should not have been watching it. I used to have a TV in my room that was the size of this Mac. Little one.
Is it, you mean like the box one and then you turn it on, it has the DVD as well?
Mine didn't even have the DVD, but it was that size. I know which ones you're talking about.
Yeah.
It was that size. And yeah, like late at night I should have been sleeping. I would watch Robot Chicken, but I would keep that remote in my hand just in case my parents came in.
Or the off
Or
button.
the volume I was always watching to make sure nothing crazy was happening, but I was ready to change the channel if my parents came in because I could not have been watching that. So I watched a lot of Robot Chicken with the remote in my hand like this.
Yes. Oh my God. Dude, I was the same way at my grandparents because they had a small TV at the time.
Yeah.
So I was in the guest room
Yeah.
whenever I slept over and I had the TV. I didn't have the remote like you did. I had to like do this to the TV. So this was the TV. I was like this. And then I was just like, if I heard noise, I turned the volume down to like 5 or 3. I was like, fuck. Because like it was some fucked up shit, man.
There was some fucked up shit happening in Robot Chicken.
But a lot of the concepts of Robot Chicken is just like, whoa, what if Inspector Gadget said fuck?
Yeah.
What if Inspector Gadget was the Terminator? It's like, I like that skit, but like...
What I will defend is the Star Wars episodes that they
Oh,
they've
those are
done.
amazing. Hot take, I like them more than Family Guy.
I do too, actually.
Yeah.
I laugh more.
Yes, I did too.
I'm a huge Family Guy defender. I know you kind of don't like it too much.
Yeah.
But the Star Wars ones, I go back to all the time, actually. They're so funny.
Yeah. Those ones, I'll give you that. The Family Guy Star Wars, but like the Robot Chicken ones, I don't know. Something about those.
You could tell, like, the creator,
Seth Green.
Seth Green is a huge Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
And you could tell, like, all the people working on it, like, love Star Wars genuinely.
Yeah.
And are Star Wars nerds because of the deep cut jokes that they make and how good it really is, you know?
Oh, George Lucas was part of it too. He's like, yeah, make fun of it. I don't give a shit.
Good. They got George. That's crazy.
So good. Another stop motion show that I watched on Adult Swim, a little bit older, was a show called Moral Oral.
That's one I didn't catch.
So this was a show that was making fun of stop motion shorts back in the day that were very religious. That were like, oh, Jesus told us to do this, to do that. Moral Oral, obviously, was airing on Adult Swim.
So it was.
Took a little twist at that
Right.
and was just like, hey, we're doing this as a lesson, but it's really fucked up what this kid is doing. So they did 3 seasons of it, and the first 2 seasons are kind of just parroting that genre. And then the third season goes into a completely dark turn, but a turn that is really interesting from all the characters that they established.
Okay.
It was really good, and I remember binging the whole series, and I was like, I wonder when they're gonna make season 4. They canceled it. There's been no word of mouth about it, so
Honestly, that's one I never even heard of. I'm surprised that I don't
Yeah.
know about that show.
really good. The ratings weren't that good. It wasn't like Robot Chicken or Family Guy ratings.
Yeah. It's a pretty niche concept, too. Like,
It is very niche, unless you like know kind of what they're trying to make fun of.
Yeah.
Like the dad was like, "Oh, Moral, you got to understand the 56th commandment. Never disagree with your father or you will get beaten."
Right.
Or something like that. Like a joke going into that territory. And as the series goes on, these characters get more depressed, more fucked up.
yeah.
Yeah, which I personally like. I don't know.
That's cool.
It ain't no Rick and Morty famousness, but
Yeah.
I like it. Some notable stop motion movies I remember watching as a kid, and they hold up so well. Aside from Coraline, obviously, is Fantastic Mr. Fox.
This is one that I completely forgot about, and I have seen.
Yeah,
Fantastic Mr. Fox is so good.
it's most people's first Wes Anderson film.
Yeah. Yeah. It 100% was mine.
Same here, because it's like I didn't even think it was a Wes Anderson film when it came out, because I'm a kid. I'm like,
course,
oh,
yeah.
it's a cool animated stop motion Talking Fox or whatever.
That's
and I
right.
watched it. I was like, it's a little weird, but man, I really like it.
Yeah.
Something about it hit differently. And then as you get older, you watch it now, and it's just like it's a classic.
It's an absolute class. It's a timeless film. Like it'll always be good, and it's rewatchable as hell.
Yeah, fully agree on that. Obviously, we talked about Nightmare Before Christmas. A lot of misconception. This is not a Tim Burton film.
Yeah,
He produced
So
it.
he's the producer, but he had such a big name that they used it. They used it in a lot of the marketing.
It's like Gremlins, where people think Steven Spielberg directed it because it said Steven Spielberg presents. It's like, no, Joe Dante directed it. He just produced it.
So who directed Nightmare Before Christmas?
Henry Selick, the same guy who directed Coraline.
Damn. Okay, I did not even know that.
He's only directed a handful of movies. He did Nightmare. He did Coraline. He did this film, James and the Giant Peach. You might have heard of. No,
I don't think so.
Oh, that's a good one too. That's a live action stop motion hybrid.
Oh, okay.
So he did that one. Then he did this infamous movie called Monkey Bone, starring Brendan Fraser, where he talks to a stop motion monkey.
Monkey Bone.
Look
Okay,
it up,
hold on,
man.
I gotta
Look it up.
now.
Nathan. The thing I like is when I
2001?
name these movies. Yeah, 2001. Yeah, it's real.
Oh wow.
Got terrible reviews. Bombed at the box office. Yeah, it's about this animator.
This is like the same time he did Back in Action too? Like
Yeah.
this is just Brendan Fraser and like fucking characters.
Look, not all of them are hits.
Yeah.
Back in Action was a hit. Monkey Bone, I haven't seen it in a long time, so I don't know if it holds up.
Why does the monkey look so fucked up?
Because it's stop motion. They did stop motion and live action
Right.
together. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So that movie's fucking weird, man.
This movie looks so weird.
Imagine like the Henry Selick stop motion world, but live action. So they would have some stop motion characters, and then he'd be like, "Oh, can I make like a giant character in real life?" And they're like, "Sure, we have a $90 million budget. Do whatever."
Wow, 20% Rotten Tomatoes. Sweet.
Yeah.
This is so
Yeah.
funny. Wait,
Oh.
Giancarlo Esposito's in this movie? Whoopi Goldberg?
Yep. Oh, dude.
What a cast. Bridget Fonda?
Yep.
Bro, what the hell?
She plays the wife
That's crazy.
to Brendan Fraser. Yeah.
Brendan Fraser in the early 2000s is absolutely amazing.
It hits different, man. But yeah, that's what he worked on. I think he did another stop motion film on Netflix. I don't know what it's called though. He worked with Jordan Peele, Keegan-Michael Key as well. Don't know what it's called. I heard it was okay. But to me, his best work was Coraline and Nightmare. Those were his best.
Is there any stop motion films in the pipeline, like coming, like news about stop motion big? Coming out?
Leica got rights to a specific novel. I forgot what the book was called, but apparently it's a really ambitious idea that has a lot of dreamlike feels to it. And what Travis Knight said was, "We have the rights now, and we're gonna make this fucking movie, however much it costs." And I like that attitude. He's honestly that Leica Studio seems like the studio that's like still holding the stop motion reign and keeping it alive, which I'm so glad. Despite the fact that I think their last film, Missing Link, bombed at the box office. It cost a lot of money, but I'm glad that they still
I'm trying to
exist.
think, what's the last stop motion film I saw in a theater?
Theater,
It's got to be like when I was a kid. I might have seen.
Pirates, the Pirates movie that Aardman Studios made. Did you ever hear about that one?
No.
Pirates one. Hold on, let me show you.
What year did that
Pirates.
come out?
2010, I believe. 2012. Sorry, this is the one I'm talking about.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's looking familiar to me. Yeah, for sure.
Aardman worked on this. I liked it. I think a lot of people's last stop motion film was either Kubo, The Two Strings, or Paranorman. I like a movie, like animation. But there are some more mature stop motion films that a lot of people forget about that I saw recently that are fucking great. Remember when I talked about Phil Tippett, who did the work on stop motion stuff?
Yeah.
He had a passion project called Mad God that he was working on for 35 years, I believe.
Damn.
Where he was doing the stop motion, he was doing various special effects on it, and he finally got it released a few years ago. And it's one of the most experimental stop motion movies I've ever watched, if not the most experimental. It's so dark and depressing. The whole premise is essentially this one character who's part of this group of people goes underground to essentially hell and sees the horrors of mankind. he sees the horrors of them cloning, creating figures, them dying out, them resurrecting, these monsters, everything you can think of.
Wait, I like this premise though.
Yeah, and it's lack of dialogue too. There's not a whole lot of
A
dialogue.
lot of visual storytelling, which is great.
Yeah, so I would highly recommend that. It's very artsy, but a lot of the passion comes through, and I love the ending. The ending's really good on that one.
All right, that's a good recommendation. That's
Another one I would recommend. It's a lot more depressing, but I really like it too. Mary and Max. This one starred Philip Seymour Hoffman. It's about this older man who's very lonely, very depressed, who has, I believe, a pen pal with a little kid on the other side, and they talk to each other. Say, "Oh, how are you doing? I'm doing great," and stuff. And I don't want to say anything else about the movie. All I'm going to say it's very sad, but very, very well made. The stop motion's really good. Philip Seymour Hoffman's really good in it too. It came out in 2007, I think. It was around that time. But yeah, I would totally recommend that too. It's just a great story itself.
I love those recommendations, man. Stop motion is something that I need to do more homework on. I need to watch more than just, Coraline and fucking Wallace and Gromit and shit.
Yeah.
I need to get into the deeper cuts.
Well, the cool thing about it is you've already seen a lot of stop motion, just not in stop motion movies, just in older films.
That's true.
That's the beauty of it, is that this technology is still existing because of the fact that it's just film.
Yeah.
Film was just pictures, the illusion of pictures. So it's like, well, what if you just take a picture and stop time that way, and you can move your character however you want? That's essentially what it is, and we've evolved so much that we're able to add green screen, VFX, hand signals. I know. But my point being, like, it's evolved so much that it can complement CGI now. I think it can complement various special effects that we use nowadays and turn it into something that's unique, very beautiful. And I do have a bias, obviously, because I've been doing this since I was a wee lad. A wee lad. But the passion comes in because it's film, it's stop motion, and I fucking love it.
It's cool, yeah. It's truly an art. Stop motion is truly an art. I mean, not that CGI isn't an art form as well.
It's different.
But it's just it's just cool because it has so much history.
Yeah.
And it's it can't evolve technically, really. You could get better at it, but there's no technology to assist you. It's stop motion,
The cool thing about it is how little it's evolved in just the simplicity of it. It's like you're just moving the characters, but what a lot of people do is the pacing of it. It's like we can move them however we want with their speed.
Yeah.
It sounds old-fashioned, but when you see it in various commercials, movies, and shows,
yeah,
dude, it looks fucking cool.
Works really well.
Yeah.
It's just cool because it's something that's still being used today, and there's great examples of in the 40s.
Yeah, man. 40s, 30s, 50s. Ugh. So many decades that utilize it. I'm gonna ask you one question before we end off, Nathan. As someone who doesn't watch too many stop motion films, but you have seen some, what is your favorite stop motion movie?
My absolute favorite stop motion film is, it's probably Coraline is probably the best one.
It's the one that
Right?
It's really good.
Right? Maybe Fantastic Mr. Fox could be a second to me. And Coraline, when I was a kid, I did not like that much. It scared me a little bit too much.
Fair enough, yeah.
But, my last watch, I appreciated it for what it was. And it's just a movie that oozes style and is real cool.
I'm with you there. Coraline would definitely be my picks. That or Mary and Max. One of those two. The emotions hit. And fuck yeah, I agree.
All right. Let us know in the comments, what stop motion films are we missing?
Ooh.
Let us know. I'm open to all recommendations. I'm going to be doing my homework, watching some stop motion films. So let us know in the comments. With that being said, we'll end it off there. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe to your boys. It helps us out a ton, and we appreciate it. And most importantly, take care, brush your hair.
Peace.